Hey everybody, welcome to this Goals and Aspirations workshop. I am super excited to get going today. If you're watching this after, it's amazing that you came here. And if you're watching this in the live call, hi, it's really good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. So thank you, first of all, to Volunteer Nanaimo for making this possible. It would not be possible without them. I ended up getting a grant through Rita at Volunteer Nanaimo for my Canada Summers grant. And I'm super excited to be able to put on some online workshops as well as some in-person classes. So we are doing in-person classes at Harry Whipper Park, 5 o'clock on Thursdays in Nanaimo here. But if you're here for the online class, we're gonna have a series of workshops. So this is one of 8 is the plan. And I'm super excited for the next one. It builds off of this guy. So definitely a good first workshop to get to here. So let's get going. First off, my name is Destined and I'm super excited to be here. I am here because I want to help others become the best possible version of themselves. As you can see here, that is going to be my mission statement for today. And that's all I want to do is I want to help people like you who are watching it to become the best possible version of yourself. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to promote maximum growth over time. I think that growth is the answer to a lot of our problems. I think that in order to overcome the things that are going to be coming for us in the future, we have to get a ton of growth over the next little while here, an absolute ton of growth. And so that's what I'm here for, is to promote maximum growth over time for everybody that watches this and everybody that I'm connected to in my life. So these are the things that I'm involved with. I'm gonna move over here. We got Transition City Fitness Club. So that's the brand that you can see I'm wearing on myself. So that's my project for social good. Connected to community partnerships. I really wanna make a lot of free classes available, buy donation events, bring community together. It's all about the fitness club. I'm also DK Health on Instagram, so if you haven't followed me on Instagram, definitely do that. I'm a private trainer as well as an online coach, and right now I'm working on a lot of different packages that can hopefully help anybody with any level of budget start to train with myself or to hire a coach, because I think everybody should have a coach at the end of the day. It makes giving your life a little bit more direction a lot easier. The last one that we have here, it's opposite for me, which is funny, is Habit Boards. So Habit Boards, a free or not free. It was a fun thing that I invented a while back that really allowed me to become the person that I am today. And it was all about habits and behaviors. And that one's coming in the next workshop. So make sure to come back for round 2. And my ultimate dream is Transition City. So I would absolutely love to make a city for entrepreneurs. They come there from around the world to work on their craft, and then they're sent back into the world to go and make major change. And there's a couple of us that work there. We're all going to be amazing entrepreneurs, but long story short, it's my grand vision. There's a lot of steps involved to get there, but the first step is the fitness club. And then the next step is hopefully a gym or something like that in town. But for now, Transition City Fitness Club is an online community of people that are going to come together to try to make each other as good as we possibly can. So let's move on to the next part here. So the way this workshop is going to work, if you guys are in the live call, you're going to see in the chat there that there is a Google form questionnaire, which I would love for you to click on. We're going to go through some presentation as well as reflections at each part of the presentation. So I'll ask you throughout the workshop to go into your Google form and fill out some questions. If you just want to write those questions down on a piece of paper, if you're more a piece of paper kind of person, no problem. You're just going to have to get access to that sheet. So if you're watching this afterwards, it's going to be posted in the link, and it's basically just a nice Google form for you there with the questions that we're going to be answering today. There's going to be some brief exercise breaks. Today's not super focused on exercise for us. We will have more workshops in the future, which will be more exercise focused. And then we're in the live, we're going to have a Q&A / work period at the end as well. So just do your best to follow the instructions that I'm giving you in the workshop, whether it's live or not, and we'll go from there. So definitely open up the Google form now. The link is in the description like we were chatting about there. And so my first question for you is, why are you here today? So for you guys in the live chat, I want you to open up that Google form and I want you to start to think about, why am I here today? And before we do that, I want to do the first exercise with you, which normally wouldn't be considered exercise, but it's going to be a breathing exercise. Out the form, wasn't working on it. Oh, out the form. Oh, yeah, no problem, Jeff. No problem. Yeah, if for now, we're going to go through all the questions as the workshop goes on. So no problem. If you can get the audio working, that would be great. Yes, okay, so why are you here today? So we're going to start with the exercise. So our first exercise is that we are going to take a deep breath in. We're going to imagine that it starts at the base of our spine and it's going to come all the way up to the top of our head. So we're going to take a nice deep breath. We're going to hold it at the top of our head. And then we're gonna release very slowly. And we're gonna try to allow the body to relax as much as we possibly can. So again, we're gonna take a deep breath from the base of our spine, feeling like you're inhaling all the way up through your body. Nice and slow, all the way to the top of your head, and then relax. We're gonna do that one more time here. Let's just get 3 breaths. Perfect. Okay, so now we're in a little bit more of an aware state of mind. We're feeling okay, starting to feel a little bit of that body awareness. And so I want you guys to go into the Google form and I want you to fill out why you are here today. Perfect. Why we are here today. So that's the first question. And the second question that I would also like you to reflect on as you get into that Google form is question number 2. And question number 2 is, what is the biggest dream you have in this lifetime? And so I want you guys to, if you're watching this on the live stream, we're going to hang out together. We're going to give you guys a chance to write it down. If you are watching this on afterwards, then I want you to pause the video and write these things down. And my camera is going to turn off here, no problem. I'm just going to turn it right back on for us. Perfect. And here we are back. Okay, so perfect. If you're on the pre-recorded version, pause the video now. If you're on the live version, I'm just going to take a second. I'll fill in the last question later. Hearing you. Yes, I can hear. Perfect. Jeff can hear. We're totally set. Awesome. Response submitted. No problem. Yes, Jeff, we can definitely, if you want to, you can fill out another response. We're just chatting in the live chat here. It looks like everybody's ready to go. So I'm going to keep going here. But again, unpause the video now. Do your thing. We're going to move on to the next part. So this is theory time. So this is going to be the lecture part. So make sure you filled out at least briefly those first 2 questions. If you need a little bit more time and you want to spend more time on those questions, you can either do that later or you can do it at the end of the session. Really, whatever works for you. Work your way through that Google form as, I would say, as carefully as you can. Don't try to go through too quickly. Try to think about each of your responses as much as you can. Fill it with intention, that Google form, as much as you possibly can. So it's theory time. So you're going to have to bear with me. Some of these concepts are fairly out there. It's going to be fairly interesting, but I promise I'm going to bring it all back together at the end. It's all going to make sense. So first things first, throughout this presentation, I want to encourage you to move your body. So I want you to stand up right now. I guess one of our viewers on live is on the bus, so maybe not standing up. But right now, what we're going to do is we're all going to stand up, and we're going to imagine that we are literally free falling through time and space pretty much. So I want everybody to kind of stretch out nice and big. And imagine that your belly is the thing that's leading you forward. And that's kind of how things are. As you can see, we have where we've been, we have where we're going, and we're kind of going like belly first. We're kind of like thinking with our body. Our body is the generator, the driver, the reason we're doing things. And then we're consciously aware in this moment right now, but for the most part, our body is the one with all that past experience, and our body's the one that's going to be, having experiences going forward. And we're just kind of flying through life right now, which is such a wonderful experience to be able to kind of feel the air all around us, which is awesome. If you really become aware, you'll start to really feel the air all around you. All of us have a ton of air around us, and we're not as aware of it because maybe it's not smacking us in the face like we're skydiving, but it is there. And so sometimes in life, we are going to have to make a decision. So we're skydiving, I guess in this case, are these paragliders, and we're going to have to make a decision. We're going to have to maybe lean left, we're going to have to lean right, there's going to be an obstacle in front of us. So if you're in the live, I want you to type left, right, or center. Which direction are we going? Anybody that is in, can I stretch here? Yes, you can definitely stretch in the hammock. It's probably even better if you just like lay back, open your chest up nice and wide. Just a hair. Yes, I can slow down 25%. That is a great idea. Good feedback from the chat there. I will go definitely a lot slower. And so, do we have a response from the chat? Left, right, or center? Where are we going? Let's make a decision in 3, 2, 1. We're going to go down center. Let's say we decided on center. And I'm going to go left or center. Those are my votes. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So I didn't give you a location that we were going to. So how do we know the right from wrong direction that we're taking if we don't even know where we're heading? So it's kind of a interesting question for me to ask you. Are we going left or right when I haven't really told you the destination? And so this is where our goals and aspirations come in, is they allow us to gauge whether or not we are heading in the right direction. Like if we knew that right would get us closer to our dreams and our ambitions, and left would go the opposite way, of course we would choose right if we knew. But how do we know what that is unless we've really defined the direction that we want to head? So that's where our goals and aspirations come from. And so we want to understand the difference between goals, aspirations, and purpose. So as you can see here, it's going to be over here. Wait, I go this way. As you can see, goals here are like small stepping stones in the right direction. SMART is the best way that they can be. So SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, I think realistic and timely, something along those lines. Very smart to have SMART goals written down. Some effort is required to get goals. You're not generally going to get goals unless you've set an intention and actually tried to work for it. So there is a little effort required. You can do them every day. You can set a goal and reach it every day. You can set a goal of brushing your teeth, and then you can reach that goal by brushing your teeth. And it's achieved with good behavior. So if you set goals and you're behaving well as the person that you want to be, then you're going to reach your goals, which is awesome. Aspirations, on the other hand, in the center here are just a little bit different. So aspirations are long-term outcomes. They form the direction of our lives. There's lots of effort required to get to them. So you can't just aspire one day to like brush your teeth. That's more of like a goal. It's kind of a little thing. But if you aspire to have, let's say, the brightest smile ever, what you're going to have to do is brush your teeth consistently every day. You're going to have to go and get the white strips and the dentist and all those things. And there's going to be a lot of steps involved. But who knows? Maybe one day you aspire to get those super white teeth. Hey, Jeff. Did you have a question there, man?
Realization of worthy ideals. Yes.
Train of thought. Success is defined as a Okay, so interesting. We've got a comment in the chat here. So subscribe to this train of thought. Success is defined as the realization of worthy ideals. Yeah, I like that. Very, very cool. There's lots of different definitions for success, but definitely realizing worthy ideals is a really, really good way of looking at success. And so he says, I know what you mean. That's awesome. I'm on board. Okay, our live is on board. This is great. So yes, aspirations, in order to get them, we must be actively making an effort to attain them, which means that if we don't have that active effort to attain them, it's kind of like, as you can see under purpose, it's like a pipe dream. It's like, oh, I really want to get somewhere, but I'm not willing to put the effort. That's not an aspiration. An aspiration is like, I want to start Transition City. I'm going to work every single day of my life in order to get there, and I'm going to figure out how to get there. I'm going to write down my goals. I'm going to figure out my aspirations, and it's all going to become a part of my purpose. So purpose is our third definition here that we want to understand. And purpose for me is the subconscious reason why we have been put here. So for anybody that might be religious or spiritual, you know, like the reason that we have been put here on this planet, like what is our purpose? What is our dream? Why are we here? And this is something that needs to be actively realized in our mind and physically pursued in order to become a real aspiration. So when you were a kid, if you were 5 years old, you said, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a firefighter. It's just a dream in your head. But the moment you start to take some courses or you actually set out on the path to try to become a firefighter, now it's an aspiration. And along the way, you're going to have some goals. So you need to complete this certification, that certification, you need to get the job, that kind of fun stuff. So important to understand those three things. And in this next one, we're going to see how it's all tied together. So this is our beautiful pyramid. We have our past experiences, which form our skill set here. And then our effort and our knowledge. If I move, where is it? There we go. Perfect. I'm still working on my weatherman. Our effort and our knowledge are the way that we are going to get our goals. So skill sets plus effort and knowledge equals goals. Goals are the foundation for our aspirations. And aspirations are like the mortar that we can build our dreams upon. And they kind of work all backwards and they work their way up. And what you will eventually get is if you put all those things together, you have a good skill set, you've defined your goals, you know what your dreams are, you can build aspirations, and you put a lot of effort and knowledge into it, then all of a sudden you're going to find a lot more purpose in your life is the goal here. So I am going to move us on to the next one. And Jeff, I'm just going to mute you for this one just so that we don't have it on the recording. But anytime you have questions, just type it in the chat there. And yes, perfect. Killing it on the graphics interaction. I love it, man. Thanks so much. That's awesome. But yeah, if you have any questions, definitely type it in the chat. No problems at all. Okay, so does this kind of make sense to everybody? This is like our life. This is everything. So we have our skill sets, like kind of coming from our past experiences. So if you were a carpenter, you can build stuff. If you know how to build stuff, and you want to build a house, you can go ahead and set the goal of building a house. And then once you have the goal of building the house, your aspiration is, let's say, to live in the house. And then all of a sudden you have your dream house, and let's say that's your purpose, something along those lines. So that's a little bit more of a concrete example, but do with this what you will. It's a wonderful pyramid, and a lot of life is like a pyramid. There's going to be a few triangular interactions that we've built. So let's move on to the next slide here. If you want more purpose in your life, it's all defined in the bottom of the pyramid. So how we get that purpose is we climb up the pyramid. So that's all we have to think about. So we can develop our skill set. You can gain knowledge and work ethic, set goals for yourself, define your aspirations, and follow your dreams. That's what you got to do. If you want more purpose, you can do these 5 things. Now, I know for sure that's easier said than done. So how do you do those things, right? How do you do those things, though? There's 3 things that you can do. You can change your mind, your thought patterns. If you keep telling yourself every morning, today's not going to be a great day, you're going to have a lot of not great days. If you have a lot of good days because you told yourself you're going to have good days, it may result in having even more good days. Things are going to kind of stack on top of each other. That's your mind, as it wants to be fed good information. You can change your behavior. So this is like a super, super easy one to think about. The things that you do. So if you want super bright teeth, but you're not willing to brush your teeth, well, then we've got a problem. You have to change the things that you do in order to reach your aspirations. That's one thing for sure. Every single thing that is worth doing or worth having in this world, you must do something in order to get it. It doesn't just come to you for free. That's not how life works. We got to work for things. Down a hair, yes, I can. I will do my best to go a little slower here. And the third thing is we can change our environment. So this is the places, the people, the opportunities around you. So if you don't have any opportunity, you don't have any people, you don't have any places you can go in order to become the best possible version of yourself, you could look at changing your environment. But it's important to look at what you're doing and your thought patterns in that environment before you know you need to change your environment, because environment can sometimes be the hardest thing to change. So this last one, this next slide, is going to be our questions. So again, if you are in the live chat, we will have some more time at the end to fill out these questions. You're welcome to start filling them out now. But if you're on the pre-recorded version, you can go ahead and pause the video and fill out these questions now. So what is one thing about your mind you would like to change? How do you think? How do you want to change the way that you think? What is one thing about your environment you want to change? Okay, that's number 2. So that could be like, oh, I want a different job, or I want a different car, something that's not you, that you think would make you a better you, or think that may be taken away from you. And then the third one is, what is one thing about your behavior you would like to change? So what's the one thing that you're doing that you'd like to stop doing and maybe do something else? So you guys can take some time, if you have access to that Google form now, to fill that out, or you can pause. I'll give you guys a couple seconds here, but we are going to move on to the next part. So we'll come back around again. If you don't have time to finish all the questions now, no problem. We're going to have a chance at the end of the session, and maybe I can talk with you guys and keep you interested, or give you guys ideas as to what you could write down, because we're going to send the response to you from your Google form after you've submitted it, so that you have a copy of it and you always have something to look back on. It's kind of like a directional sheet. It's like, where do you want to go with your life? And that's what this sheet is all about. So I really want you to take a lot of time on this sheet. I don't want you to just write one sentence answers. Really take some time with each of these questions. And if you just want to pay attention for the workshop, that's okay. And actually, maybe even preferred, so that you can have time to really contemplate each of these questions. But let's get moving on to the next part. So this is going to be a really, really interesting one for a lot of you. So this is a very, very particular visual that we're going to have right in front of us. So I will do my best to explain this to you guys. So this is a very, very interesting thing. So what you need to know is that you control the gray. As you can see at the top here, at the top, we have things that we could do, and we have our body. So literally I could put myself in this situation and I could say, okay, here's my body. Here are all the possibilities I could do in time in front of me. Here's my behavior in this moment. So I'm literally acting right here. I'm behaving. Okay, I decide to do a workshop. I'm doing a workshop. And my mind is here as well. It's conscious, it's aware. But then there's this awareness. There's all the stuff that's going on around me that I can't really control. So there's people watching this at home that aren't me. So that's part of my awareness. But it's not currently something that I control, but it is there and it is sort of affecting me. As we can see, I have Yes, definitely. Yes. So we have all of these things. I'll do my best to go slow here, Jeff. I'm definitely a little bit of a quicker talker, but if it is quick, I guess we could, play it back at 0.75 later, but I will do my best to go nice and slow. As you can see, the green is our awareness, so things happening around us. And then we have our environment. So these are things that are super, super outside of us, the nice dark gray out there. Those are things that we really have no control over. We're not even really thinking about at all. So stuff that's happening outside of my house and my neighbor's house and somebody else's life right now. That's an external environment that I guess you could say you're aware of, but it feeds into your awareness. But your awareness is more so how things are affecting you. And then there's kind of an environment that's outside of you that doesn't really affect you too much. Like if somebody on the other side of the world sneezes, I guess I could sort of be aware of that, but it's not really going to affect the environment that I'm in. So this is going to be an interesting visual. I'll give you guys a chance. Wait, I should go on this side. Give you guys a chance to look at that. And like I said, you can literally imagine, like if I was the guy, I'm right here. I'll put my eyeballs right there. There's my focus and my awareness. It's all happening for me right now. That green bar is kind of what's happening right now. And so we're going to move on to is an even more interesting one. So this is another way of looking at our last slide. All of a sudden we're going to go to this yellow line right here. So what's happening in this yellow line is we're at a constant state of now, Our awareness is right here. It's kind of like we put on a pair of goggles. So I want you to literally look at the screen and imagine that you are right at the center. You're kind of focusing. You've got like the goggles on either side, and you can see that you can focus almost at the end, and it's like, what the heck is going on? You have a future in front of you that you can't quite see, but you know things are coming for you, and there's a past that's behind you, but you're right now. You're aware in this moment, you're focused in this moment on this presentation. That's what's happening. Before and after, before. We'll have another slide. So it's this moment right here. We're doing it again. Okay, you're watching this presentation. We're however many minutes in. And so we're processing this in this moment. Okay, this is interesting. We're in this moment right here. I'm in the green bar. I'm making decisions, and you're making the decision to watch me. Now, sometimes potential future experiences, they can be distracting from what you need to do right now. So you might be thinking about something that's going on after this workshop, but if you're really here right now, you might be able to take something major away from this. So potential for the future is kind of where anxiety comes from. It can offer us a sense of peace, or it can also offer us a sense of worry. So that's why focusing into the future, it can be super, super good. We can be like, yes, I'm really happy with the way the future is coming. Or it can be like, I'm quite scared for what's going to occur in the future. Obviously, if we start to develop our ability, we're going to be a little less scared for the future, a little bit more excited. But as you can see, we also have learnings from the past at the bottom here as well. So they influence the way we receive new information. So if you had something happen to you a while back, and let's say it happened in your childhood, it was a traumatic experience, that may change the way that you perceive new information that's coming in this moment. So that's something to be aware of as well, is that you kind of have this foundational base, almost like the bottom of a pyramid, that kind of shapes the way that you initially process information. And as you can see over here, sometimes, just like in our anxiety, it can kind of be a depression thing. It can serve us well, knowing what has happened to us in the past. We can avoid it. We know that's a bad decision. We shouldn't do that. It's not good for us. Sometimes it's good, but sometimes it can be completely debilitating. Like anybody that has, let's say, for example, depression knows that it can be extremely debilitating when you start to think back to all the past experiences. It makes you lose hope of the future and completely takes you out of this moment, which is where we want to be, we want to be right here and now, because that's where things always happen for us. That's the only thing that happens for us, is when we're right here and now. So let's move along. Hopefully this is kind of a cool visual for you. Again, you can put yourself in the middle, or you can pretend like you've put on those glasses and stand a little bit closer, like your eyeballs. Kind of a cool one. Anyway, that's one of my favorite visuals for myself. And the best way to give yourself that time and attention is to take a deep breath. I'm realizing in this moment, it's possible that this workshop could really change somebody's life. That could be super, super cool. So I do have to slow down and make sure that this is easily understandable by everybody. So Thank you, Jeff, in the chat for letting me know. I should go slower and I should be more aware, and I appreciate that. So let's keep going. There's two things we can do. First off, back about breathing. I love it. Yes, breathing. Super, super interesting. Yeah, funny enough, the way that we lose weight, literally, we sweat, but the biggest way is carbon dioxide exited out of our lungs, right? Because like you breathe a lot in the nighttime, and so you end up losing a lot of weight from the night to the morning. Anyway, super interesting. Carbon dioxide apparently weighs something. You know, it's gas, but there's weight behind everything, literally weight behind everything that you say. What an interesting concept. But yes, okay, so we're on to the next one. So you must learn to increase your focus. So dial in on your focus. And then you must expand your awareness of what's possible. So if you put those glasses back on, you can see how you could focus very centrally on one point. Maybe it's like right here for me. I can focus right there. But I can also kind of expand my awareness. I can take the glasses off and realize there's a lot more going on than what I'm seeing right in front of me where I'm focusing my attention. And when you can have a good interlope, what's that? No, that's not the right word. If you can interlace between your focus and your awareness, extreme focus, massive awareness, what you can do in moments is absolutely crazy. You can act to the best of your ability in a given environment, which is all that you can ever do. So that's what we want to do. Increase our focus and build our awareness. Yes, public speaking. Yes, exactly, man. Yeah, no, this is a first workshop, so I'm definitely learning from this one. So I appreciate all the feedback in our live chat and everything that's going on right now. So this will occur more as a person, as you become more of the person that you want to be. So your focus will increase, your awareness will increase, and it happens the more you align yourself with your vision. If your vision is right up there, directly overhead, and you can align yourself with it, you're going to feel way more focused, way more aware. Generally, hopefully, we're going to find a little bit more happiness in that moment as well. But we want to figure out how to align with where we want to go. And so sometimes you just have to get out of your own way. It's really interesting. Sometimes there is a very clearly defined path for you out there. Like whoever put you on this planet put you here for a reason. And sometimes you kind of know the reason that you're here, but you're kind of like, oh, I just want to do all these other things, and you're allowing your physical body to distract you away from what it is that you actually want to go out there and do. And that happens for everybody, you know. Social media is easy, and eating lots of, you know, tasty food is easy. And sometimes those things are just going to get in the way of getting us where we want to go. So something to be aware of there. So right now we're going to head into question 6. What are the things that are stopping you from being who you are destined to be? So this is a very important question to identify. As a coach, probably the most important question that I have to answer for every client is that there's a lot of roadblocks. There's a lot of obstacles that come up. And so we must be able to overcome those obstacles, because it's kind of the classic thing. It's not about, you know, how many times you fall off the horse. It's about how many times you get back on. So if you can anticipate, you know, like an obstacle that's coming up, it may allow you to not even fall off the horse in the first place. You may be just able to stay on and ride a little bit further. And we've got some really cool visuals coming up for kind of how we're playing this game of life. So let's keep it going. We're going to move on. If you want to answer that question and you're watching on the pre-recorded, make sure to pause it. If you're on the live, you're welcome to fill that question out, at least briefly, give yourself an idea of what you could expand on later. But we're going to keep moving on. That's question number 6 in our Google form. Let's keep it going. And question number 7 are, what are some of the personality traits and qualities of the person you would like to become? So we've kind of been thinking about it, like, what are my dreams? Like, what are some things that I want to do? Who's the person that I want to become is a good question. Like, where am I going right now? Like, why am I here? You know, ask yourself all the questions that you've been here so far, and then say, like, okay, assuming I was the person that I wanted to be, what would that person like do, and how would they behave? And start to write out those qualities. So this person would be hardworking and a family man, and they would have aspirations. They'd be passionate. They'd be an entrepreneur, stuff like that. Like, write out whatever you think it's going to take to become the person that you want to become, in terms of whatever you want to write. If there's a habit in there you want to put in, a person who's super successful, which is what I want to be, makes their bed every day. So their personality trait is that they're clean, for example. But we're going to keep going on. Again, take some time for that question. You can pause the video, or we can fill it out at the end. But let's keep it rolling. We're going to keep the lecture going here. We've got, 4:38. Okay, according to my time, so we're about halfway through here, which is great. So it's a stretch break. Perfect timing. We got 20 minutes. I'm just going to get you guys. I know it's kind of funny. I think our viewers, some of them are sitting down. Some of them are, I think they were saying they're in a hammock, which is pretty funny. If you can stand up, you can move a little bit. That would be awesome if you have your thing. But we're just going to take a moment. I just want you to kind of feel your body if you're sitting down in the workshop. Just stand up, move around for a bit. Be like, okay, like I gotta move a little bit. Maybe your Apple Watch like 10 minutes ago said it's time to stand. This is your it's time to stand. We're all gonna do it together. We're doing it in the live chat. So yes, if you're on the pre-recorded version, still take some time to stand. Give yourself a little bit of a break. These are a lot of deep thinkings. This is a workshop that you could potentially watch more than once. In fact, I would very much so encourage you to do that. That's really funny. Listen, he's rolling around. That's awesome. Too funny. Okay, got some people rolling. I love it. Okay, perfect. We're gonna move on, but we got our stretch break in. We're moving. We're having a good time. Perfect. So this is a super interesting one. Okay, so our daily decisions are gonna kind of have three general routes that they're gonna take. There's the path of growth. So this is the path I want to send you down. Of course, this is where our goals and aspirations are, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's hard work. You got to put the work in order to go down the path of growth. It's where trees grow. It's where money's at. Path of growth is awesome. The standard path that most people are going to be walking along is going to be the path of least resistance, right here. So this is the path of like doing what you've always been told, show up to your 9-to-5 job, like get your hair done because someone said that you should get your hair done, like kind of a little bit like I sort of make my decisions, but also a lot of decisions are sort of made for me and I'm comfortable with that. That's no problem. It's like neutral. It's like we're going down like Main Street, it's no problem. We may not have a bunch of goals and aspirations, but maybe we're going with the flow, we're just traveling down, we're doing our thing. We're going with the flow, love it. And then the last path, which is that path over there, is the path of death. The path of ease and convenience, and the path of laziness, which is funny over here. So this is going to be the life of, I see, let's say there's it's like big issue, it's not a joke, but like the issue of global warming, okay? I don't want to do anything about it. I have no interest in doing that. It's easier to not care. So I'm just going to not care about it at all. And let's be lazy. Let's all be lazy together. Let's not even think about it, guys. That's the path of death. As you guys can see, if we don't do anything about the problems that we may be facing, well then, we might head down a route that's not filled with growth. Like we're growing, obviously, like economically and stuff like that. But we got to make some changes in the world, and that's what Transition City is all about, is we don't want to be heading down the path of death. We want to go down the path of growth. And so that's my goal. Send more people down the path of growth. So today is all about believing in yourself, believing in your dreams. Let's make it happen. Let's go down the path of growth and stop literally killing ourselves with silly decisions like, okay, I'm gonna eat Wendy's versus I'm gonna eat the salad at home that I told myself I was gonna make, or I'm gonna have a peanut butter sandwich like I always do. Something like that. Those are kind of like more concrete decisions, but let's keep it moving. The next part's kind of a fun one. It's like a visual of how we can visualize our life. So we have staircases. Staircases. It's kind of like climbing. It's not easy to climb stairs. Not easy to climb those stairs. Going with the flow is kind of like trending down the middle. Like, yeah, we're coming in. We're going straight. And then there's these red slides, and they're telling us we're sliding closer to death. It's really easy to do these things. That's awesome. Yes, exactly. Not a lot of people do go down the path of growth, which is great. Perfect. And so if we go down the slide, we know that it's easy, it's convenient. Maybe there's a little bit of climb involved in the slide. Like, hey, we had, I had to work, but then we're lazy. We keep going down the slide. So life, funny enough, in the next slide here, is a lot like the game of kind of like Chutes and Ladders almost, if you want to look at it that way. So here we are today. Wait, backwards for me on the screen. Here we are today. There's a couple potential futures. There's a tomorrow 1, a tomorrow 2, tomorrow 3, kind of like what we had before. We could go left, right, or center. We have tomorrow 1, 2, and 3. So tomorrow 3, as you can see, we have a slide. So we're going to start to go down towards the path of death, which is not where we want to go. We don't want to go to our death. But as time goes on, everyone does get closer to their death, okay? most of us are going to travel from over here, and we're just going to ride a wave just through the center of our life, all the way over here. We're just going to ride a wave, and we're eventually going to die. We didn't reach our goals and aspirations. We didn't die a horrible death. We did it somewhere in the middle. You know, we can kind of go with the flow, no problem. We never really set many goals, but we didn't really cause any problems either. Okay, that's fair enough. You could do that. And you can do that when you're searching for goals or climbing for goals too, as you can see. Sometimes, we can climb, coast for a week or two, and then climb, and then coast, and then climb and coast. And then eventually we reach our dreams and our aspirations. But just like the game, sometimes we're going to go up, sometimes we're going to go down and up and down and up and down, kind of like the wave, so we can ride the wave. We have to go with the flow sometimes. But when the opportunity presents itself, you want to be able to take those stairs. You want to be the person that's capable. I'm just going to have my camera reset here, so I'm going to do it for it. Perfect. And we're back. So we want to be the ones who decide the path that we're taking. If you want to go with the flow, then go with the flow. But don't let the flow take you. That's like a whatever they call it, like a tide, a rip tide or something like that. It can take you away. But if you're just going with the flow and it's easy enough, no problem. So hopefully this analogy kind of makes sense to you, is that we're riding the wave of life. And that's our whole goal, is we want to try to get to our dreams and our aspirations. And of course, one day we're also going to die as well. There's going to be one ladder or one chute that goes all the way down. Game over. That's our whole life. We're going to ride it along. So let's move on. Hopefully that's a nice visual for you guys. It was fun to make these things. Really fun to make these things. So yeah, let's keep going. So this is a really, really interesting slide. Dang, I wish it wasn't backwards for me. It'd be so much easier. So as you can see, on ladders, there's goals, and then there's execution. And then there's goals and execution, and goals and execution, and goals and execution. And you keep climbing up the ladder until you reach for your aspirations, and you can finally grab them. But you have to keep setting goals, and you have to keep executing on those goals. And now I gave you a little fun one here that, as you can see, there's also a safety net. If you climb too high, okay, I'm like right on the top. Oh my gosh, I climbed a ton of goals. I'm like the most successful person in my family. I have like $1 million and I don't even know what to do with it. You haven't defined your aspiration of what you want to do with the money. You can fall super, super hard. And if there's no one there to catch you and to give you purpose and to provide that safety net for you, like your friends and family, who might be able to tell you, like don't get into the drugs once you make enough money, like stuff like that. Anyway, like there's a lot of examples that you could have, but you want to have somebody in your life that acts as a safety net, or multiple people in your life that act as a safety net. So as you climb the ladder of life towards your aspirations, even if you hit like a little bit of a bumpy spot on, your path, you don't end up falling all the way back down. You can actually stay up pretty high because you didn't have to fall too far. You had the safety net right by you. You built these? Nice. I didn't expect that. Yes, I did build them. This is all originals out of Dusty's head, which I'm super proud about. So hopefully that kind of makes sense, is we want to have our friends and family there to support us as we strive for our goals and our aspirations, which eventually, of course, lead into our dreams. And sometimes it's going to feel like this. So we get 3 decisions again, going down Main Street, that's easy. That's the easy route. That's what we can do. Sometimes it feels like doing the right thing is impossible. Whoops, over here, haha. Sometimes it feels impossible to climb those steps. It feels like I just don't have the energy to get better today. And sometimes that's okay too. But it's important to understand that life, you can go with the flow sometimes, but you're either going with the flow, you're going up, or you're going down. So if you're not feeling good in this moment, and you're not going with the flow, and you're not enjoying yourself, you're not setting goals, you're not setting aspirations, you're probably slowly sliding down, going down the path of death is what we called it, the slide to death. We literally descend down. It's not that serious, but it could be that serious. Some people go down a slope for a really, really long time, and the best part is you can be so close to death at the bottom, so close, and then you just keep climbing ladders, keep little goals, execution, keep going, and you can still reach your goals, dreams, and aspirations before you die. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can do it anytime. So if you're 50 watching this, 60, 80, it doesn't matter. You can still write down goals and aspirations. You can still strive for them. You just have to set goals and you have to execute on them. So I'm going to ask you all a question again. Which way are we going? Are we going left, right, or center? We don't really know which way is right a lot of the time. We're going to be like, okay, I think this decision is right for me. Okay, so mentally choose a direction. Where are we gonna go? I'm gonna go down the middle again because I went through it last time. Until we've made a decision. Oh my gosh, okay, I tried to do something, it didn't work out. I tried to do my first group class here in Nanaimo. I tried to do a free group class for everybody and nobody showed up. It seems really bad. The outcome seems the path of death. No one showed up. I made zero impact. I got paid to do basically nothing. But I don't actually know that. I don't know that because I don't know how it's going to affect. I don't know how it's going to grow. But in that moment, I could perceive it as either this is something very good or this is something very bad. But at the end of the day, I have another decision to make. Do I perceive what just happened to me as something good, or do I perceive it as something bad? That's going to be up to you. That's always going to be up to you. You always decide whether something is good for you or if something is bad for you. And that's okay. That's what we get. Personal perception. That's what we have. We all get to decide how we're going to feel in most moments. We do have hormones from our body that are going to make us more prone to feeling a certain way. And if we change our hormones and our body, we have better regulation of the way that we feel. So in theory, you could say the more you look after the body, the more potential you have to feel good. So that's why you want to focus on your physical body, but it's also one of the reasons it's not the only way that you feel. Like you could have a super fit body, but sometimes there's a chemical imbalance or something like that inside of you, maybe from the food that you ate last night, and all of a sudden you're not feeling super spiritual today. And that can happen, and it's no worries. It is a heat wave day in here. Thank goodness there's AC in this house. Perfect. So let's keep it going. It's hard to know what's right or wrong until the feedback from outside occurs. So I don't really know if nobody showing up to my group class the first time I did it is a good or bad thing until I try the group class again. And then what happened in the second group class? 8 people showed up. Okay, that's awesome. 8 people is great. That's definitely worthwhile to provide a free group class. So that feedback came in. Hey, Dustin, you should definitely advertise your stuff sooner because it didn't give me enough time to plan. Okay, that's good feedback. And now I've grown and now I can provide a better group class. But at the time it was like, man, I screwed up. I didn't have anybody show up to my first one. But now I've kind of maneuvered it and learned from it, my past experiences. I've put it together and I set myself the goal of having a better group class. And now I have the aspiration of having the best group classes that anybody could provide. So that's kind of how I'm working my way up the ladder, is I'm making sure, even if it may seem like something bad has happened, I am always going to do my best to perceive things as, yes, this is a learning experience, a growing experience for me. And you can turn most of life experiences that happen to you right now. And if you really want to, you can also go back to past experiences and ask yourself, were they good or bad? And again, sometimes the question is funny because you don't know which direction you're heading. Sometimes you just have to look back at things and understand that they happened. And then once you understand that they happened, you can kind of move forward from there. But you have to come to realization that they have happened, accept it, and know how you're going to do better for next time. So sometimes we have to go back. Let's keep moving here. So the main theme of today is that I want people to set goals, aspirations, and define their dreams. Because if you set your sights on something and you have the right intentions, you will always have some compass to point you in the right direction. So if you want to be a great painter one day and you've designed your whole life to become a better painter, and then the decision to sell all of your paints and all of your artwork for $5 comes up, if you don't know why you're doing all of these things, you may take an opportunity to sell yourself out. But if you know what the ultimate purpose is, it's going to be a lot harder to buy you. And so that's the way that I want to think about it, is that I don't want this to be about money. I don't want someone to be able to take away what I'm building here. I want to have a compass, a direction of where I want to go. I want to build Transition City. And so that's the only thing that matters to me. So if somebody tries to offer me something that maybe is too good to be true, I already know where I want to go, so it's not that interesting to me. So you learn to only accept people into your life that may be of benefit to you. And it makes it a lot harder for somebody else to come into your life and take things away from you because you already have everything you need. So that's an interesting one to think about there. And a new question arises. We're actually coming almost to the close of this workshop here. Who are some of the people in your life that you feel want the best for you? It's important to identify these people. These are your safety nets, like we talked about before. So let's take some time if you want. Again, you can pause the video, or we're going to answer these questions at the end. But who are some of those people? Good stuff. And we got one more question as well, a final reflection for you. Our workshop is nearing completion. So I want you to reflect back on what was talked about today and ask yourself, what did you learn and how do you want to apply it? And if you have absolutely no clue how to apply it, that's okay. That's what our next workshop is for, about habit boards. It's about the application of everything that we just defined for ourselves. We have a direction, we have aspirations, we know where we want to go. It's somewhere over here. We don't want to go this way, we don't want to go that way. We want to go this way. And now how are we going to make the steps necessary, block it out, have the stepping stones, the goals, the execution necessary to work our way up into our dreams, into our aspirations? That's going to come next week. But for today, we're going to define what our future hopefully looks like for ourselves. So thank you so much for coming to this workshop. It's time for question and answer in the live chat. And I'm just going to go to my last slide here and then we'll get that started. Question and answer, Q&A. And this is the end of the presentation. So again, like we were talking about, we'll see you next week for habit boards. It's going to be at the same time, 4 o'clock on Wednesday. And if you didn't make it, that's okay, because as you can see, it's all pre-recorded and ready for you online. And this is my name, Dustin King. That's my email if you want to send me an email. And transitioncityfitness.com is a place you can go to see what I do. And again, I'm on Instagram at DK Health if you want to follow that. But that is it for today. Thank you so much for coming to today's workshop. I am really, really happy with how it turned out, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. Take some time, answer that Google form, and thank you so much for watching this Goals and Workshop, Aspirations Workshop presented by Volunteer Nanaimo. I really appreciate all of you for coming and for watching this after. We'll see you on the next one.